OutDaughtered star reveals shocking family rift. This division shook the Busby clan in a way OutDaughtered fans never saw coming. The stars of OutDaughtered gave viewers a front-row seat to their family life, flaws and all, throughout the show's 10-season run on TLC. Alongside Adam and Danielle Busby and their 6 daughters, the series also featured Danielle's sisters, Ashley and Crystal, their extended families, Adam's parents, Terrell and Philip Busby, and Danielle's mother, Mimi. But behind the scenes, a deep breach of trust caused a surprising fallout with one beloved family member, leading to a rift that would shake the Busby clan in ways fans never saw coming. In a video posted just before Mother's Day 2025 to the couple's More Than Reality YouTube channel, Danielle discussed details of the rift that nearly broke her family apart. Sharing these secrets put to rest viewer speculation about one family member, who suddenly disappeared from the reality series after years of being a featured cast member. Titled, "I Cut Ties with My Mum for 4 years, Walking Through Forgiveness," Danielle discussed her difficult relationship with her mother, Mimi, and where they stand today. Her remarks clarify many fan theories regarding the beloved grandmother's sudden disappearance from the series after season 8. Danielle revealed, "I chose, this boundary of, hey, we need some separation. There are a lot of things that are just a constant repetitive dysfunction, and we need to change something, and this is it. So we just needed a break from each other, and we need to separate. And yes, that's hard." She added, "It affected how I was as a mom and how I was as a sister to my sisters. Being on pins and needles if she was coming around and being like, I don't want to set her off. So I'm going to dismiss all the things to be under this childlike demeanor versus my priority. I just want to be able to forgive her." When the TLC star was growing up, Mimi was a young single mom with 3 daughters. She was reportedly not always fully present in her children's lives. That led Danielle to become independent at a relatively young age. "I think that's what's really hard for the fans to realize," the reality star explains. "Because there's so much behind the scenes. When you watch an episode and she's in the show, there's just a lot of things that are not said. Through the TV show, your mum was projected as just the fun, kooky, silly, crazy person," Adam added. "Which she is, but you never ever once saw the other side of what that was like. You never saw what things were like off camera and behind the scenes and things she may have done earlier that day." Danielle added, "She's great with kids, great with people," she said, "but it's an up and down cycle of struggles." TLC's OutDaughtered is currently on hiatus. The network has not officially confirmed a premiere date for season 11. The latest buzz surrounding OutDaughtered has taken fans by complete surprise, as Danielle Busby recently shared a new family portrait that quickly turned into a viral moment online. What was meant to be a simple and heartfelt update has now sparked widespread disbelief, curiosity, and intense discussion among viewers who have followed the Busby family for years. Danielle Busby, known for her role as a devoted mother of 6 and a central figure on the hit reality show, took to social media to post what appeared to be a beautifully composed and emotionally warm family portrait. At first glance, the image seemed like a typical Busby family update: smiling faces, coordinated outfits, and a polished setting. However, fans immediately noticed that something about the photo felt different, and that subtle difference quickly became the center of attention. Within minutes of the post going live, the comment sections began filling with reactions. Longtime followers expressed confusion, surprise, and even disbelief. Some questioned whether the image had been edited or enhanced, while others speculated about changes within the family dynamic. The overwhelming response showed just how invested fans are in the lives of Danielle and her husband, Adam Busby, along with their 6 daughters. One of the most striking aspects of the reaction was how divided the audience became. While many fans praised the portrait for its elegance and emotional tone, others were quick to point out details that didn't align with what they expected from the Busby family. Some viewers felt that the image looked too perfect, almost staged to a level that made it seem less authentic than previous family updates. This reaction highlights a growing trend in reality television culture, where audiences expect a certain level of rawness and authenticity from the stars they follow. Over the years, Danielle Busby has built a reputation for being open and honest about her family life, including the challenges of raising quintuplets and balancing personal responsibilities. Because of that, any shift in how the family presents itself, even in something as simple as a portrait, can lead to intense scrutiny. Another factor contributing to the disbelief is the emotional connection fans have developed with the Busby children. Viewers have watched the girls grow up on OutDaughtered, witnessing milestones, struggles, and everyday moments that have created a sense of familiarity and attachment. When a new image appears that seems to alter that familiar dynamic, it naturally raises questions. Danielle, however, did not initially respond to the wave of speculation. Her silence only added to the intrigue, as fans continued to analyze every detail of the portrait, from the positioning of each family member to the expressions captured in the frame. Nothing went unnoticed. Social media discussions quickly expanded beyond the original post, with fan pages and online communities debating what the image might signify. Some supporters defended Danielle, arguing that the portrait was simply a professional photo meant to capture a special moment. They emphasized that families evolve over time, and changes in appearance or presentation are completely natural. Others, however, remained skeptical, insisting that there was more to the story than what was being shown. This situation also reflects the unique pressure faced by reality TV families. Unlike traditional celebrities, their lives are presented as a blend of entertainment and reality, which creates an expectation of transparency. When something appears out of the ordinary, it doesn't just feel like a stylistic choice, it feels like a potential shift in the narrative that fans have come to know. As the conversation continued to grow, one thing became clear. Danielle Busby's family portrait had struck a nerve, whether it was the composition, the atmosphere, or the subtle changes fans believed they saw. The image managed to capture widespread attention in a way that few social media posts can achieve. And while the full story behind the portrait has yet to be fully explained, the reaction itself speaks volumes about the Busby family's influence. Their ability to generate such strong engagement shows just how deeply audiences care about their journey and how closely every update is followed. At this point, the disbelief surrounding the portrait is less about the image itself and more about what it represents. For some, it's a reminder of how much the family has changed over the years. For others, it's a moment that challenges their perception of what is real versus what is curated. As fans continue to speculate and analyze, the big question remains unanswered. What exactly made this family portrait feel so different? As the online conversation continued to gain momentum, the spotlight intensified around Danielle Busby and her decision to share the now viral family portrait. What initially appeared to be a simple post had clearly evolved into something much larger, with fans dissecting not just the image itself, but the possible meaning behind it. Many viewers began comparing the new portrait to older family photos that had been shared over the years on OutDaughtered. These comparisons quickly revealed noticeable differences in style, tone, and presentation. Previous images often carried a candid, slightly chaotic charm that reflected the reality of raising 6 young daughters. In contrast, this latest portrait appeared more refined, more controlled, and, according to some fans, almost unrecognizable in its level of perfection. This shift sparked a deeper discussion about how reality TV families evolve once they become more established in the public eye. With increased visibility often comes access to professional photographers, stylists, and carefully curated aesthetics. While this is not unusual, it can sometimes create a disconnect between what audiences expect and what they are presented with. At the center of this discussion was Adam Busby, who has often been seen as the more playful and spontaneous presence within the family dynamic. Fans noted that even his expression and posture in the portrait seemed different, more composed, less casual. This observation led to speculation about whether the image was intentionally styled to convey a new phase in the family's journey. At the same time, attention turned toward the Busby daughters, who have grown up in front of millions of viewers. The way they appeared in the portrait, more mature, more coordinated, prompted emotional reactions from longtime fans. For many, it was a reminder of how quickly time has passed. What once felt like a story about toddlers navigating everyday life has now transitioned into something more polished and, perhaps, more distant. Some fans expressed a sense of nostalgia, longing for the earlier seasons of OutDaughtered when moments felt less structured and more spontaneous. Others, however, embraced the change, arguing that the family has every right to grow and present themselves in new ways. They pointed out that evolving one's image does not necessarily mean losing authenticity. It can simply reflect personal growth and changing priorities. Despite these differing opinions, one common thread remained: curiosity. People wanted answers. Was the portrait marking a milestone? Was it connected to an upcoming announcement? Or was it simply an artistic choice that unintentionally sparked a wave of speculation? Adding to the intrigue was Danielle's continued silence during the peak of the discussion. In today's fast-paced digital environment, where public figures often respond quickly to clarify misunderstandings, her decision not to immediately address the reactions stood out. For some, this silence was interpreted as intentional, possibly designed to build anticipation. For others, it raised even more questions about what might be happening behind the scenes. Social media platforms became flooded with theories. Some suggested that the portrait could be hinting at a rebranding of the Busby family's public image. Others wondered if it was tied to future projects, such as new content, collaborations, or even a shift in the direction of their presence beyond television. While none of these theories were confirmed, they contributed to the growing sense that the portrait was more than just a photograph. This moment also highlighted the power of audience perception. Even without any explicit message, a single image was able to generate widespread discussion and interpretation. It demonstrated how every detail, from lighting and composition to facial expressions, can influence how a message is received. Meanwhile, supporters of Danielle Busby continued to defend her intentions, emphasizing that not every post needs to carry a deeper meaning. They argued that sometimes a family portrait is simply that, a snapshot meant to capture a moment in time without any hidden narrative. Still, the scale of the reaction made it clear that this was not just another post. The Busby family has built a loyal and highly engaged audience over the years, and with that comes a level of attention where even small changes are magnified. As the discussion carried on, the tone began to shift slightly. What started as disbelief gradually turned into anticipation. Fans were no longer just questioning the image, they were waiting for what might come next. Would Danielle address the speculation? Would there be a follow-up post or explanation? Or would the portrait remain an open-ended moment, leaving fans to draw their own conclusions? Whatever the case, one thing became increasingly evident. This single portrait had managed to reignite interest and conversation around the Busby family in a way that few updates could. And, as the anticipation continued to build, the possibility of a reveal, or at least some form of clarification, felt closer than ever. As anticipation reached its peak, the conversation surrounding Danielle Busby and her viral family portrait began to shift from speculation to expectation. Fans were no longer should-who questioning what they saw. They were waiting for clarity, for context, and perhaps most importantly, for a response that would either confirm or dismiss the countless theories that had taken over social media. Then, gradually, subtle changes began to appear. While Danielle did not immediately release a direct statement addressing every rumor, her activity online hinted that she was fully aware of the reaction. Small interactions, likes, brief replies, and carefully chosen follow-up posts started to paint a clearer picture. Instead of delivering a dramatic explanation, she seemed to take a quieter, more controlled approach, allowing the moment to unfold naturally rather than forcing a narrative. This approach, whether intentional or not, had a powerful effect. It kept audiences engaged, extended the lifespan of the conversation, and allowed fans to feel as though they were part of the unfolding story. In a digital world, Yakana attention spans are short and trends fade quickly. Maintaining that level of engagement is no small achievement. Eventually, through a combination of indirect responses and evolving context, it became apparent that the portrait was not tied to any shocking revelation or hidden controversy. Instead, it represented something much simpler, yet in many ways more meaningful. It was a reflection of growth. Over the years, OutDaughtered has documented the Busby family's journey from chaos-filled early parenthood to a more structured and mature phase of life. The Quintuplets are no longer toddlers, and the daily challenges that once defined the show have naturally evolved. With that evolution comes a shift in how the family presents itself, both on and off screen. The portrait, which initially sparked disbelief, began to be understood as a symbol of that transition. The polished look, the composed expressions, and the refined aesthetic were not signs of inauthenticity. They were indicators of change. The family had grown, and the image reflected that reality. For Adam Busby, this moment also highlighted a quieter transformation. Known for his humour and spontaneity, Adam has gradually taken on a more grounded and reflective presence in recent years. Fans who revisited the portrait with this perspective began to notice that his composed demeanour wasn't unusual. It was consistent with the way he has evolved as both a father and a public figure. The daughters too became a central part of this realisation. Their appearance in the portrait, more mature, more poised, served as a visual reminder that time has passed, regardless of how viewers may feel. For longtime fans, this realisation carried a mix of emotions. There was pride in seeing how far the family had come, but also a sense of nostalgia for the earlier days that first drew audiences to the show. Interestingly, the disbelief that initially surrounded the portrait did not completely disappear. Instead, it transformed. What began as confusion shifted into reflection. Fans started asking different questions, not, "What's wrong with this picture?" but "Why does this change feel so surprising?" The answer in many ways lies in the nature of reality television itself. Shows like OutDaughtered create a sense of continuity that can make time feel suspended. Viewers become accustomed to a certain version of a family, and when that version changes even naturally, it can feel unexpected. Danielle's portrait disrupted that sense of familiarity, not because it was misleading, but because it was honest in a different way. It didn't capture chaos or imperfection. It captured stability, growth, and a more refined chapter of life. And for some viewers, that shift required an adjustment. As discussions continued, a new wave of appreciation began to emerge. Fans who initially questioned the image started to express admiration for its elegance and emotional depth. They recognized the effort that goes into raising 6 children while maintaining a strong family bond, and they saw the portrait as a celebration of that achievement. At the same time, the moment sparked a broader conversation about how audiences interact with public figures. It highlighted the expectations placed on reality TV personalities to remain consistent, even as their lives change. It also underscored the challenge of balancing authenticity with growth, of staying true to one's identity while embracing new phases of life. For Danielle Busby, the experience served as a reminder of her influence. A single image, shared without elaborate explanation, was enough to capture global attention and generate meaningful discussion. It demonstrated that her connection with the audience goes beyond entertainment. It is rooted in years of shared experiences, trust, and emotional investment. And perhaps that is the most important takeaway from this entire moment. The disbelief was never truly about the portrait itself. It was about the relationship between the Busby family and their audience. It was about expectations, memories, and the way people hold on to the versions of stories that first resonated with them. In the end, the portrait did not reveal a hidden secret or dramatic twist. Instead, it offered something quieter but equally powerful, a glimpse into a family that has grown, adapted, and continued to move forward. As the conversation gradually settles, one thing remains certain: the Busby family's journey is far from over. Whether through future updates, new milestones, or unexpected moments like this one, they will continue to capture attention and spark conversation. And if this portrait proved anything, it's that even the simplest image can tell a complex story. One that evolves with time, challenges perception, and reminds audiences why they started watching in the first place.